Okay, so I did my biofuel video project over ethanol. A little background info: ethanol is a renewable energy source made from sugars found in plants such as corn, sugar beets, and sugarcane. It was first used in the 1850s as fuel for lamps. Nowadays, it's used for many ways, such as oxygenating gasoline, which reduces air pollution. How is it grown? It's grown in many different ways. For example, the United States grows ethanol from corn, Brazil grows ethanol from sugarcane, and Europe grows ethanol from wheat, sugar beet, and also corn. The biochemical process for growing ethanol involves a treatment to release plant sugars, followed by hydrolysis to break cellulose into sugars. How is it produced? It's produced through alcoholic fermentation of the sugar in the starches of grains. The fermentation of sugars happens by dry or wet milling. Dry milling is whenever the corn is grinded into flour and ferments it into ethanol, with byproducts being distiller grains and carbon dioxide. Wet milling, though, is the separation of starch, proteins, and fiber in the plants to produce corn sweeteners and ethanol, with the byproducts being corn oil and starch. The developmental status of ethanol. So, the first generation of ethanol production was used at an industrial scale, and the second generation is still in the developmental stages. Um, right now, they're studying how to incorporate all the new energy and economic factors in order to have the most efficient process for converting the biomass into fermentable sugars. The second generation also plans to develop a low carbon biofuel industry. And for as far as availability goes, ethanol is available globally, but mainly used in Brazil and the United States. The impact of ethanol on carbon footprint. Ethanol has a lower carbon footprint than gasoline, which is better for the environment. And the US industry produces more than 17 billion gallons of ethanol and reduced greenhouse gas emissions by 42.7 million metric tons per year, which is about 2% of the total US gas emissions per year. The economic impact for this, my sources showed that if vehicles were optimized for higher ethanol amounts compared to gasoline, there would be a higher engine efficiency, which would increase the fuel economy. Higher ethanol production also creates more job opportunities, which would also have a positive impact on the economy. My sources also showed, for example, in 2021, ethanol production accounted for 73,000 jobs in the US, $52 billion in GDP, and $28.7 billion in household income. Communication efforts. So the best way to get this out to the public, the government has made programs to strive to educate biofuel benefits to government institutions that operate vehicles that need this. And they also made programs that share grants available to the public in order to encourage installing or upgrading fuel equipment that is required to use products with higher ethanol concentrations. These grants are given to the public to increase the use of ethanol production in gasoline engines. My current analysis of this shows that ethanol production is in its second generational development, is working on producing an efficient process in economic and energy. Ethanol has a positive impact on the economy for job opportunities, like we explained earlier. Ethanol also emits less carbon footprint than gasoline, which shows a positive effect on the environment. And my recommendations for the next step is to bring more publicity to government institutions about ethanol benefits and reducing greenhouse gas emissions. I would also recommend making more vehicles that run on higher ethanol production rather than gasoline. My plan of action: I would create cheaper ways of having vehicles that run on engines with higher ethanol production than gasoline. For example, the government could pass regulations or laws for creating products that contain ethanol instead of gasoline at a cheaper price. Having more programs that would be able to educate every business and institution on the benefits of ethanol economically and environmentally. For resource concerns, more businesses could be funded to have the machinery to produce ethanol since it's more expensive, and this would create more job opportunities, which would also help the economy. A concern, the only concern is having more ethanol production can have a negative impact on the environment, but to prevent this, we could have the government create a plan to test out less harmful ethanol products. And these are my references, and thank you for watching.